Hey everyone, in today's video I'm going to walk you through how to complete and file your tax return from start to finish. I'll explain what a tax return actually is, what documents are needed, how refunds and payments work, and finally, how to submit your return. So with all that out of the way, let's dive right in. We'll start with the big picture. What exactly is a tax return? A tax return is simply a form you send to the IRS that summarizes how much money you made during the year and how much tax you owe. From there, there's a comparison between how much you've already paid and how much you actually owe in total. Throughout the year, taxes are usually taken out of your paycheck automatically. This is called tax withholdings. When you file your tax return, you're really doing one final calculation to answer a simple question. Did you pay too much tax, too little tax, or just the right amount? If you paid too much tax, you'll get a refund. If you didn't pay enough, you'll owe the difference. And if it's exactly right, you won't owe or get anything back. So filing your tax return is not about starting your taxes from scratch. It's about reconciling what already happened with what needs to happen and making up the difference. Step 1 is to gather all your relevant documents and information. If you're filing jointly with a spouse or if you have any legal dependents, you'll also need their information as well. Next, you'll need all your income documents. Think about all the ways you made money last year. For most people, that starts with a W-2 from your employer. If you did freelance or contract work, you may have received a Form 1099 NEC. If you earned interest from a bank or a high-yield savings account, you'll usually get a Form 1099 INT. If you invested in a taxable brokerage account, you may receive a Form 1099 DIV for dividends or a Form 1099-B for capital gains and losses. Moving on to the deduction and credit side of things, students often receive a Form 1098-T from their college or university. This reports tuition payments that can help you qualify for educational tax credits, like the American Opportunity Credit or the Lifetime Learning Credit. If you own a home with a mortgage, your lender will usually send you a Form 1098, also called the mortgage interest statement. This shows how much interest you paid and is used if you decide to itemize your deductions. And if you're paying student loans, you may receive a student loan interest statement as well. It's also helpful to have a copy of last year's return handy. By the way, if you're finding this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much in advance. Next, let's move on to actually filing your taxes. You really have three main options. The first option is IRS free filing. This is available for those that meet certain income requirements. Here's a list of current IRS approved free file options for this year. The second option is to use paid tax software. This includes programs like TurboTax, H&R Block Online, TaxSlayer, TaxAct, and many others. Paid tax software is popular if you don't meet the IRS free file income requirements. They typically walk you through the return step by step and handle the math for you. The third option is hiring a tax professional, like a certified public accountant or an enrolled agent. The main benefit here is more personalized service based on your specific situation. A tax professional can help you catch blind spots or identify deductions or credits where you might otherwise miss. Beyond just preparing the return, working with a tax professional can also be helpful if they also perform tax planning throughout the year. That's important because once the year is over, it's often too late to change some of your tax implications. Next, let's walk through how to actually complete your return. The first part is your basic personal information. That includes your name, social security number, and filing status. If you have dependents, such as children, their information goes here as well. Your filing status depends on things like if you're single, married, or supporting dependents. Next up, you'll enter your income. This is where you report all the money you made during the year. If you have a W-2, you can either type the numbers in or upload the form directly. This includes your wages and the taxes that were already withheld from your paychecks. If you have multiple W-2s, each one is entered separately. You'll also enter any other sources of income, such as the 1099 forms we discussed earlier. After income, you'll move on to adjustments, deductions, and credits. This is where most people start to feel nervous, but I'll try to explain it in a way that's easy to understand. The first part is tax adjustments, also called above-the-line deductions. These are called adjustments because they reduce or adjust your income directly. Some common tax adjustments include contributions to a traditional IRA, student loan interest, or health savings account contributions. If you're self-employed, adjustments can also include things like the deductible portion of self-employment tax or health insurance premiums. Okay, so if adjustments are above the line deductions, what are below the line deductions? For these, taxpayers can choose one of two options, either the standard deduction or itemized deductions. The standard deduction is a flat dollar amount set by the federal government. The vast majority of US taxpayers take the standard deduction because it's simple, automatic, and often results in the highest deduction for most people. Itemized deductions are a little more complicated. Instead of taking a flat standard deduction, an itemizer would add up all their itemized deductions and take that amount instead. Common examples of itemized deductions include your mortgage interest, state and local taxes, charitable donations, and medical expenses. Next up are tax credits. Credits are especially valuable because they reduce your tax bill dollar for dollar. Common examples include education credits, the child tax credit, or credits for retirement contributions. Once everything is entered, you'll see a summary of your tax return. This shows your total income, how much tax you owe, how much you've already paid, and whether you're getting a refund or owe a balance. This is where that comparison that I mentioned earlier happens. At this point, I'd recommend you go back through and make sure everything was entered correctly. Even if you use tax software or a professional, I would always try to trust but verify. The final step is filing your return. And honestly, if you made it this far, you should give yourself a pat on the back because you're almost done. Most people file electronically, also known as e-filing. This means your return is sent directly to the IRS over the internet. E-filing is generally recommended because it's faster, more secure, and helps reduce errors. Once you submit your return, you'll receive confirmation that the IRS has received and/or accepted your return. If you're getting a refund, you can choose how you want to receive it. Direct deposit is usually the fastest option, and most refunds arrive within a few weeks. If you owe money, you can choose your payment method. Owing money doesn't necessarily mean you did anything wrong, but it might be an indication that you should update your future tax withholdings. After you file, you can track your return status using the IRS Where's My Refund online tool. Once your return is processed, be sure to keep a copy for your records. You may need it to apply for loans, financial aid, or when you file your taxes next year. Alright, last but not least, let's quickly talk about some common mistakes beginners make and how to avoid them. The first is forgetting income documents. If you leave out a W-2 or a 1099, that could result in delays, notices, or even owing interest and penalties. Make sure all your income is included before you file. Another common mistake is entering numbers incorrectly. A simple typo could throw off your entire return, so just make sure to slow down and double check each entry. Filing under the wrong filing status is another common mistake. Luckily, most tax programs and professionals will help guide you through the correct filing status. The good news is, most of these mistakes are easy to avoid. Just take your time and review your return carefully, and that goes a long way. When in doubt, consult with a certified tax professional. If you found this video helpful, I hope it wouldn't be too taxing to ask you to return to my channel anytime. Also, feel free to leave any questions in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.